Hello viewers, welcome to a new episode of Cinema Pesalam. We have the beautiful Pooja Kumar with us. Hi Pooja.
Hello,
Hi,
vanakkam.
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 Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Vishwarupam 2, is releasing after 5 years of Vishwarupam. So how was the wait for you?
It's been too long of a wait, I think. I mean, especially for the audience, we've made this film with a lot of heart, with a lot of hard work, with a lot of dedication. So finally, we're excited that everyone is going to see all the work that we put into it, so it's going to pay off in 1 week. So I'm like very excited about it and I can't wait. So obviously, we didn't want it to get delayed. I mean, as actors, we go in and we go do the job, and then that's it. So then it's up to the production, for when to release it and when it should come out.
Yeah. And is the new thing we are going to see in Vishwarupam 2 about your character than what we saw in Vishwarupam?
So in Vishwarupam 1, you see Nirupama a little selfish, only thinking about herself. She's a nuclear oncologist who very much is into her profession and is only thinking about the future of herself. She clearly is not in love with her husband, and she's basically a user, in the first part. And he also, in a way, is using her, right, for his convenience. So they're both kind of these two people who've come together out of extraordinary circumstances. And then, as you see in the film, in part one, you see him, sort of evolve, and you see his character come out that he's not the Kathak dancer. He's not this, guy who she thinks is like, doesn't love her. And she is in shock, I think. And she goes through a transformation where she starts admiring her husband and starts loving him and falling in love with him because of what he does and who he stands for. And I think it's a wonderful character that Kamal Sir has written because you see her throughout the movie. She's not your regular heroine that just comes there, loves, and then romances, and then she leaves. You see her actually have a purpose. She's a nuclear oncologist, so she helps him save the day at the end of the movie in part one. And then you see a little glimpse of this affection that they have for each other. Even his character, Sir's character in the beginning is sort of, alienates himself from her. But then at the end, you see a little bit of like some emotional attachment that he feels for her, which I think he was also surprised about. And then in the second part, the affection and the admiration just grows exponentially for her because she sees that he's doing something for the greater good of the country and sacrificing his life. And she realizes, that's her selfish life isn't what it's supposed to be. And she kind of is gung-ho about the whole thing. And she also, I think, starts thinking that she's a secret spy or like she can do all the action that they can do and becomes part of their team.
Okay, that's nice. And we also heard that you have done some underwater, stunt sequence in the movie.
I have. I've done a lot of underwater action in the movie. We shot for 1 week in Thailand. And it was interesting because we had a special mic that we had to put on, along with the oxygen tank, and then also we had a gun, and we had the scuba suit. And we could only shoot for 30 minutes at a time underwater. So basically, it's like the longest take you've ever taken. Like for 30 minutes, the camera was rolling because you can only put people underwater for that much time, because you can't breathe any more longer than that because your levels start decreasing. So we had this huge shipwreck built underneath water. And then Kamal Sir overhead the mic would say, okay, action. And then we'd have to go through the shipwreck. We'd have to open the big like metal doors, open the door and then swim through it. I'm sure you've seen some of the footage of that.
Yeah.
So it was scary, nerve-wracking, and fun at the same time.
And you were one of the lucky few who has worked in Kamal Sir's direction.
Yes.
And as well as you acted with him.
Yeah.
How do you find that? Like, how do you see him?
You're right. I'm one of the lucky ones. It was hard and also nerve-wracking at the same time. A great learning experience. I had to differentiate with Sir between the writer, the director, the producer, and my love interest. because in order for that relationship to be authentic, I had to be real about it. I had to be sort of honest about what Nirupama felt. And so I always felt with Sir, I was like, Sir, I'm just acting, in this. It's just the scene. And then after a while, he understood, obviously. I mean, he knew from the get-go. But I felt inside that I had to apologize to him. But he never asked that of any actor. He just wants you to come on. When that camera's on, you do the character. And then when the camera's off, then you become the professional that you are. And then when the camera's off, you have to listen to what he says as the director. So it's kind of like you're looking at this person and you're listening to the direction, and then when he says action, and then you turn that director off, and then you come back to his character. So it's there was a lot of things. I think I'm really good at multitasking now because I have to speak two different languages, and then was working with Sir on different elements. So yeah, it was a very, I would say, challenging, and then joyous, and then at the same time, extremely fulfilling.
And you were someone who lived in the US and who worked in Hollywood, and everybody says, everybody knows and says Kamal Sir is a world-class technician.
Absolutely.
He's kind of. So how do you see that coming from there? And like when you see him.
I think he is. There's no question in my mind. I mean, even after shooting 2 weeks with him, I was blown away by the way his production handled this film. It's a really big film. I mean, we're shooting in 5 different countries. We shot in Jordan, we shot in America, we shot in London, we're shooting in India, and then we're shooting in different countries and Thailand. So it was a big undertaking, and that too, he's writing, directing, producing, and acting, and then 2 languages. It's not a small project. And it's not a small thing for him to do that also. But, we just think, oh, well, he can do it. And he can. I think he is a very unique person who has this extraordinary talent. We could all be lucky to be working with him or actually interacting with him for a little bit. I mean, you've interacted with him. And after 10 minutes, you're like, oh my gosh, like
his knowledge is
just about politics, about literature, philosophy, religion, of course, Tamil poetry. I mean, he's just a worldly scholar is extraordinary. I mean, I'm baffled at like every conversation that we have, and you feel like you just have to read more, when you interact with him. But he is definitely a filmmaker alongside of Ang Lee and Robert Zemeckis and Ridley Scott, and I hope he continues to direct.
Sure. And how about looking at the larger cast like Shekhar Kapoor? I mean, Andrea and others. How do you find that?
Shekhar Ji was great to work with. I mean, for me, also being on set with like Kamal Sir and Shekhar Ji, it was like, I mean, both of them are amazing filmmakers, and Shekhar Ji has produced and directed some of Indian cinema's classics, right? Yeah. I mean, Bandit Queen and Mr. India, we love those movies. So it was great because they both had so many stories to tell. So it was just like, I was just a sponge, listening to the both of them and absorbing, all their experiences. And also gaining knowledge. I mean, they were sharing so many things that they had to do at that time where it's so much more easier for us. And then Anand Mahadevan, I shot with him for 2 days. What a fantastic actor as well. Andrea, we had a great relationship. And you'll get to see that in this movie. Like, I'm questioning her relationship. I'm not questioning it. Like, who is she? What is her background? Is she my husband's ex-girlfriend? Is she the lover? Like, I mean, it's interesting and cute because we're kind of going on this journey together, and I have no idea about anything. So I'm like having this whole discovery happen. And Jaydeep is a fantastic actor, and Rahul Bose just brought a whole new element to like this villain role. I don't think we've seen Rahul Bose like this ever. He's also a director. So interesting that we have a lot of directors as actors in this film, yeah.
And compared to other Tamil movies, Vishwarupam was like, is promoted in multi-cities because of the Telugu and Hindi versions.
Yes.
You go to Mumbai for different shows. How do you find the whole experience of, going to different places and talking about the movie?
I entered the film industry because I wanted to share my emotions with the rest of the world. And I thought, what little, that I have in my life, can I share with other people and inspire, other young actors, other young women. And this is the chance I get to inspire people to go and watch the movie. And I'm taking it all in because it's so great to see everyone's reaction. People are seeing the trailer, people are watching the behind the scenes, and they're really appreciating it of it because all of the actors they know have come on board because of Kamal Sir, right? And he's written such a great script, and our characters are great. All of them have like two shades to all of us. Like there's a good side and a bad side, which you don't get to see in a normal movie anyway. So we've been going to a lot of cities because we want people to see it. We want people to watch the movie, and we want people to take their families. It's an important movie. There's a political message. There's a social message. There are a lot of elements in it which I think the whole family can see. And I think the most important thing is that you watch the movie in an entertaining way, but also go home and discuss it because there's some important aspects in this film that I think are really important for all of us.
Yeah, and your recent Telugu movie PSP Garuda,
yeah,
even it's kind of the same action thriller genre of different this thing. So are you like doing most movies which are like more action thrillers?
I don't know. I'm getting cast in like action movies. I'm not complaining. I guess because I've done Vishwarupam, and they thought this character of Swati, suited me. And I think Praveen cast me because I could probably play the character. Rajashekar Garu is also is a really good actor, which I really didn't know before meeting him. I actually didn't know him and Jeevita Ji did so much work, together. I had just read the script and I knew, and I spoke to Praveen about it. So yeah, we should do more action. We should do more comedy, and yeah, it's great. I'm happy.
Sure. And how do you find your work in the States as well as in India? How do you find the industries working in two different countries, and what do you think as the similarities, or what is the differences between the West and the East?
Well, look, I've been really lucky in all the productions I've worked. They've been very professional, and we get a call sheet. We are told the timings of when to arrive on set, and we haven't started late. You hear about so many shootings in India that they start late or it doesn't start on time, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think everyone is coming on time and they're getting their work done, and I think it has a lot to do with the work environment. I think it has so much to do with your director. Sir arrives at like 9 a.m. means 9 a.m. And so, we follow in his footsteps. And also, I think the other, I don't see that much difference except culture-wise. Our stories reflect who we are. American stories reflect who they are. I've said this previously, we're emotional people, right? So our stories are emotionally based, whereas in America, they're not. They are, but it's not as much as we are because we've got 26 different states, 26 different languages. I mean, food, religion, everything. Our common language actually is English.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not Hindi, which I would have thought that it would be, but it's not. Our common language that we can speak is English. So I think that's what's there's not much of a difference anymore. We do definitely in India because of our budgets. We're not able to do half the things that they are in the West. I mean, I feel so bad because in America, they've got $50 million, $70 million, and we have our biggest budget here is maybe $5 to $10 million. And that too, out of the 1,000 movies that are made, maybe 2 or 3. Out of the 1,000 movies, 200 are from North India, 800 are from South India. So actually, the South Indian film industry is a huge market. But again, what is their budget? It's not that much. We get a little bit more money if we get more organizations like the Actors Guild or the Producers Guild invest. I think in that we're going to be able to make more movies.
Yeah, and one thing of late we see is in the US, there are more like Indian American actors. We see them on TV and
Absolutely.
movies. But how do you see that? I know you are someone who has gone through the space.
Yes.
You think the opportunities are more now because we see a lot of TV series casually they're mentioning Indian name.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I always say like brown is the new black is my new thing. You know, it's America is a diverse country. It's full of immigrants. And now South Asians, because of our generation, you know, our parents went in 1970. They didn't go there to become filmmakers or writers or producers. They were all physicians or engineers. They were professionals. And so our generation actually had the opportunity of studying screenplay writing or go to acting school or producing. And so now we're coming into those, to that level. We're in those positions to create the content. You know, in America, I mean, the biggest stereotype is being a physician, right? Every Indian is a doctor. I was like, well, that's true. Every hospital you go to, there is an Indian doctor. And if there isn't, then it's not a hospital. But it's a great time for us. It's a great time for Indian cinema to expand on the world level because of internet, because of all the distribution avenues. We've got, you know, cell phone, iPad, everyone can see, you know, everything everywhere. So it's great. And we have a duty, I think, as Indian Americans, it's our job and whatever we can is to showcase ourselves in that positive light. Because in America, they used to think, oh, Acha, India is like, okay, snake charmers and they're elephants, you know, going around. But they don't think of that anymore, you know, because of Facebook and Twitter. And I mean, the good thing that has come out of social media is that we know what's happening in the rest of the world.
And do you follow a lot of Indian movies? Like, I mean, how do you?
I love Indian movies. Love it. My first Hindi movie was Ek Duje Ke Liye. And that's when I became a Kamal Sir fan because it was the first time I saw a man do Bharatnatyam in a graceful, manly way. I don't even know if that's possible. And I was like, I saw it, I was like, oh my God, who is this? Mom's like, acha, he's this actor, he's Kamal Haasan. But oh my God, and ever since then, I was a big fan of his. And I never would have thought in my whole entire life that I'd be working with him. Never.
And do you want to work in the different, like, you know, there are so many industries within Indian movie industry.
Yes.
Do you want to work in different industries?
I would love to do Kannada. Definitely. I want to do a Malayalam film. I want to do a Hindi film. I want to do Punjabi. So yeah, I've done Telugu, I've done Tamil. So hopefully I will do the other ones.
How do you manage the time, you know, like how do you between the two countries?
I don't manage. It's really hard, you know, going back and forth. It's difficult. But I think, you know, you do what you love and you go where the work is. You know, I feel like it's kind of like the traveling circuses that we used to have, right? We used to get in the chariots and we'd have like the horse carriages would be pulling the 4 or 5 actors and the thespians, and we'd go from one city to the other, perform that night, stay there that night, and then go to the other place. So I feel like that's who I am, but now it's just a plane instead of, you know, a horse carriage. So that's my difference.
Coming back, like, how would you, you know, what would you tell anybody, like, why should they watch, who should want to?
Why?
Yeah, meaning?
Well, look, there's action, there's drama, there's romance, and I think what I really like about the film is that he's been able to put emotional sentiments, like Indian emotional sentiments with like this Western edginess to it, which is really difficult. And he's been able to do it realistically and authentically, and it's an entertaining film. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch, and there's a lot of romance. So that's there for, you know, people who like romance. There's action for all the guys. And, you know, Kamal Sir's done a lot of action in all of his movies. But what's unique, I think, in this is that she's shot it very differently. So you're gonna see something pretty new.
And will you be telling your friends in the US to watch it? It's premiering on 9th in the
yeah,
US.
I've been getting actually a lot of calls and emails actually because they want to go see it, and so they're asking me about the theaters and where they can see it and everything. So yeah, I'm sending all my American friends, and they're like, yeah, but it's in Tamil and Hindi. I was like, yeah, but they have English subtitles. Yeah. So I'm definitely making a lot of calls and telling everyone to go see it.